Hi guys. This is our first course on the values that support life in the community for the folks that we work with developmental disabilities. The goal of this video is to familiarize you with the vision and values that should guide you in your support of the people that we work with. Virginia has a vision for how we treat people with developmental disabilities. And our vision is grounded in the idea of person-centered practices. So a vision for Virginia and a set of principles and practices were developed by the statewide person-centered practices leadership team that are made up of self-advocates, family members, representatives of the Community Service Board, private providers, advocacy groups, and state agencies. We see a Virginia where people of all ages and abilities have the supports needed to enjoy the rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and the opportunity to have a good life. What does having a good life mean? A good life could mean being around your family all the time. A good life could mean making lots of money, having really big dreams, having lots of friends. It could mean living a quiet life in a little cabin away from everybody. It's what it means to you. So it means something different to everyone. It could mean something that makes me happy and that makes me have a good life could look totally different from what your good life is. And that's how it is for all people, including the people that we work with. They all have their own idea of what a good life is. They want different things than we do. Sometimes they want the same things that we do. But a good life for anyone includes joy, happiness, health, safety, hopes, dreams, meaningful activities, intimate relationships with family and friends, having a home, having transportation, having work, money, the ability to deal with one's own money, your own bank account, and the ability to contribute to community and to family. These are all things that we want, and they're all things that people using services want to experience as well. It's expected that all DSPs will be working towards these through the supports that they provide. The leadership team agreed that the person's voice, whether that's words or behavior, directs the planning process. It's also agreed upon 5 principles of all person-centered practices for all providers to follow. Virginia's process of supporting people with disabilities is built upon the following 5 principles of person-centered practices. You're going to be hearing that a lot, person-centered practices. And as I mentioned, it is the foundation upon the vision we have for working with people with developmental disabilities. So person-centered practices, 5 principles. The first principle is listening. The necessity of truly listening to people was by far the most mentioned principle Virginia needs to learn to follow. Listening, not just to the words, but to the many other ways of communicating what I like and what I don't like, what I want to do and what I don't want to do, and how I like to be treated and how I do not want to be treated by you in the community. So it's very important to listen, not only with your ears, but with your eyes, to what the person is communicating to you. You have to listen to the person, so the individual that you're supporting. You have to listen to each other and the team who supports the person. We all listen to each other. Community is the second principle. Relationships with family, friends, and people in the community are supported. Person-centered practices are all about community. Nothing is more important to us than relationships with other people. Person-centered planning and other practices increase the likelihood that people have positive and enduring relationships, lasting relationships, new and intimate relationships, contributing to family and community, receiving from family and community are all a part of what makes a good life for everyone and should be addressed in everyone's individual support plan. Personal informed choice and control are supported. This is the principle of self-direction. It's becoming more and more popular across Virginia and the country for people with disabilities to direct their own support and their own services. For individual support planning, increased self-direction might be in facilitating one's own meeting, planning the venue, planning the agenda, inviting the people, getting involved and directing their services themselves. For people who cannot do those things alone, personal choices are discovered by the people who care about the person. They use their collective wisdom to support the person and increase the personal control in their life. Talents and contributions. People have opportunities to use their gifts and talents. So contributing to family, neighborhoods, and communities and receiving in return is what makes life meaningful to people. Everyone has gifts, everyone has talent to share with others, and everybody likes to be valued and appreciated, and everyone working together can make great things happen. And then responsibility. There's a shared responsibility for supports and choices. Accountability is a really big thing. Accountability is shared across planning and support partners with the person being supported. People need to be fully informed of the risks and responsibilities of their personal choices, but be able to fully trust their partners to support them in making the right choices. Health and safety are the bottom line of a good life. However, they are not enough. Life should not just be about being healthy and being safe. There's more to life than that. Support others in the way that you would want to be supported in trying new things. We aren't always successful on the first try, and neither will those we support be successful all the time. But encourage them to try, and then be there to support them when they do fall, to get up and try again. One significant way that Virginia provides funding for supports is through home and community-based services, waivers. These are waivers that allow Medicaid to fund support to people in their communities. Waiver services take place in a person's home, in regular places in the community, in licensed settings, or homes where staff provide supports. Virginia offers 6 types of waivers. While all of the waivers listed above are under the authority of DMAS, or the Department of Medical Assistance Services, DMAS, DMAS. The Building Independence, Community Living, and Family Individual Support waivers are administered on a day-to-day basis by the DBHDS, or the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, DBHDS. You will see both acronyms a lot. Those 3 waivers support people with developmental disabilities. So many of the supports and services that are available through the waivers for people with developmental disabilities are provided by direct support professionals, or DSPs. They have the primary role of supporting those people on a day-to-day basis with routine personal needs, social support, and physical assistance in a wide range of activities so that they can lead a self-directed life in their own community. DBHDS expects the supports provided to be person-centered and to lead a good life for the person using waiver services. There are characteristics of providers that are valued by Virginia's service system. When providing supports and services, it is expected that all people providing supports, including DSPs, consider the wants and the needs of the person first, realize everyone has talents, ask the person and those who know and love them for input. Use those people to learn about your person. Support a person's self-expression, self-worth, self-reliance, and decision-making. They like DSPs who are flexible, who are able to listen to all people and respect all people, to respond quickly and timely, to be part of a team, to communicate clearly, to be creative and think outside of the box for new ways of doing things or solving problems. recognize and celebrate success, seek win-win solutions, and follow a person's plan as decided upon the team. The first section of this class focuses on the values that will guide you as you provide support. Many of these concepts are built on person-centered thinking and the work of Michael Small and others from TLC, or the Learning Community, whose focus of research has been moving people with disabilities from a service life to a true community life, as illustrated in this image right here. So take a look at this chart. It's a demonstration of efforts that have been taking place over the past 30 years in the person-centered practice community. Many of the people supported in developmental disability services fall at the center of the arrow, a good paid life. This is where they have very few real connections, and most people that are involved in their life that they see on a day-to-day basis are paid support people. Not very many natural supports in their life. It's a good paid life. We want them to move towards a good community life where they're valued and included, and they have an active circle of support that includes natural supports as opposed to just paid supports. People with disabilities are valuable and contributing members of the community. Everyone can experience a good life in the community, so people using supports should be able to control how they live their lives. People who provide supports, the DSPs and the sponsors, should focus on promoting rich and fulfilling lives in the community. These are the valuable concepts in direct support. Person-centered thinking is a set of core skills that DSPs use to see beyond disabilities to support people in obtaining lives of their choosing. At the base of all person-centered thinking skills is the ability to discover what is important to a person while balancing what is important for them. Okay? This is true about all people, not just those with disabilities. All of us have things in our lives that are important to us and important for us. We all struggle to strike a balance sometimes between doing things that are good for our health and having things in our lives that we cherish. This tool is used to develop plans with the individual that fulfill all of their wants with all of their needs. So important too are things in life that help us to be fulfilled. They're the people we love, the relationships that we have, the things that we like to do. I like to go to Starbucks every morning and get a coffee. That's one of my favorite things to do. One of my rituals. Those things are important to me, to be able to get coffee every morning. Important for me is to not get sick, to promote wellness, to be safe, to be valued, and to not be broke. That's an important for me. So to manage my money. So my balance here would be between coffee every morning and balancing a budget, basically. So hopefully that illustrates a little bit about the balance that we're constantly trying to find between important to and important for. Person-centered thinking is a set of skills used to get to know somebody. Getting to know someone allows DSPs to act on the information and support them on obtaining a life that they want. So person-centered thinking, it's important to understand the importance of being listened to, even when people communicate in non-traditional ways. Understand the importance and guide others in having positive control over their lives. Understand the significance of personal daily rituals and routines. Address significant health issues and safety. Pay attention. Record everything. Because we are human, we all need and use support from others. We all contribute, just not through jobs, but by how we spend time and through our relationships. So we all want to have control over our lives so that we can reach our dreams. The term respect has many meanings, including a positive feeling towards another person or another person's skills, opinions, or other characteristics. Respect requires seeing the individual as a person first. Lack of exposure to people who differ from us in customs or standards contribute to a lack of respect. All people, including those with disabilities, are thought of more positively when they are in a position to contribute to the community. People with disabilities can get the respect of others by being supported to perform useful and meaningful activities. As a DSP, respect for individuals you support can be achieved by listening and developing an understanding of their culture, background, hopes, dreams, beliefs, and then support them to follow through on things that are important to them. There seems to be a tendency to have lowered expectations from individuals with disabilities. Low expectations limit their opportunities to try new things and interfere with their achievements. It is your responsibility as a DSP and as a sponsor to move away from a focus on limitations, on what they cannot do, and turn towards a focus on talents and abilities and what they can do. This enables the focus to shift to respect and empowerment. These are some ways that you can demonstrate respect in your work. Always ask permission when supporting. Encourage someone to advocate for themselves. Honor their rituals, routines, and beliefs. Language is another big part about respect. Your choice of words in speaking and your attitude are very important. Attitude can be the tone of your voice. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Tone is everything. Language and tone can act as a separator when you use special language or professional jargon when talking about people with disabilities. We don't use the term client, we don't use the term consumer, customer. Those are all very impersonal and disrespectful. Special language says people with disabilities are different. Instead, use everyday language words and phrases you would use when talking about coworkers, friends, and family members. As a DSP, how you talk will influence the attitudes and interactions of others. It's important to use person-first language. It emphasizes the person first. So it emphasizes the person and not the disability. The first choice is always to call someone by their name. If you have to refer to someone and mention disability, always put the person first, not the disability first, as in autistic Jessica. It is Jessica who has autism. The phrase a disabled person can be disrespectful and emphasizes the disability rather than a person. You could say a person with a disability instead of saying someone with Down syndrome or Downs. You can say a person who has Down syndrome. Referring to the person first lets others know that they are a person, first and foremost, who deserves respect. The core of person-centered planning is to empower the person who uses paid supports to make decisions and choices that direct and shape their own life. The goal is to move from a needs-based system to a support-based system. The support-based approach helps to develop personal goals in a life that is meaningful to the person, using supports while still addressing their health and safety. Person-centered planning always includes the person who is the focus of the plan and the other people who are selected by that person to participate. This leads to the achievement of goals that are meaningful to that person. The concept of dignity of risk is the right of a person to make an informed choice to engage in experiences that are meaningful to him or her and which are necessary for personal growth and development. Normal living often includes risks. Dignity of risk allows people to lead normal lives. Overprotection of people with disabilities keeps them from many life situations that they have every right to experience, and it may prevent meaningful connections and fulfillment of their hopes and dreams. So what is your role as a DSP, and what does it look like? Rather than protecting people with disabilities from disappointments and sorrows, which are natural parts of life, support them to make informed decisions. This enables them to experience the possibility of success and the natural risk of possible failure. Occasionally, as support staff, we believe we know the outcome for those who dream too big. Oh, they'll never reach that. Oh, they'll never fly a plane. What a ridiculous thing. It's dreaming too big. He's blind. He'll never fly. Dignity of risk demands we try to help people investigate and reach for their dreams while keeping health and safety at the forefront of our services. Community connections. Community is a group of people who come together for a common reason. People may belong to several communities, some are which based on a common interest, maybe some based on geography, such as your neighborhood where you live. You're part of your neighborhood community. You go play video games with your friends. A gaming group, that's part of a community. People within a community may be very different from one another, but being part of a community brings people together, and people learn that it's okay to be different. Positive and regular interactions bring a community together. Just because you live in a community or attend activities in a community does not mean that you are part of the community. It's the responsibility of the DSP to provide the supports a person needs to become part of the community. Sometimes people are afraid of differences or the unfamiliar. Without intentional effort to involve people with disabilities in their communities, they risk being separated from everyday life by living in segregated facilities and attending activities designed only for people with disabilities. As a DSP, you must ensure that the people that you support achieve ordinary community lives by helping each one get involved in activities that they want to do and find valuable. Going out to ordinary places is the first step. Think of the places that you like to go, the activities you like to do, organizations where you have memberships. What would be the potential challenges for people you support to enjoy those same experiences? How could you help the person overcome those barriers in order to become successful? There are 3 ways to be part of a community: presence, participation, and connection. Presence is you're in the community, you're there. You just moved to a new neighborhood, you walk around, you know the neighbor's name across the street. You're in the community. Community participation means interacting in the community, right? Attending things with your community. There's a cleanup committee in your neighborhood. You start going on a regular basis. You're part of the cleanup group. You know the neighbors. That's participation. You're participating out in the community. Community connection is when you start making closer connections. So you're in the cleanup group and you meet somebody that you get along with really well. In fact, you meet 2 people and you exchange numbers. You guys start hanging out on the weekends. Community connection, that is where we're at here. You discovered common interests, you become friends. That's community connection, really, really being involved in part of that community, not just being a bystander. Somebody who participates, somebody who is there. You are connected. We talked a little bit about natural supports earlier. DSPs need to support natural supports. As a DSP, you are a paid support, and we want the people that we work with to have more natural supports in their lives, not just to replace us and their need for us. It's to increase their pool of supports for living a natural, normal, ordinary life. So DSPs should learn who people want to be around, what the people like to do, and get them involved with other folks who may not have disabilities. and help them reach out and make connections that are closer and unpaid. The term natural supports refers to the resources that are already present and available to all persons in a community. This includes family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, members of your groups, members of organizations. Imagine for a minute what it would be like to wake up every morning knowing that the only people you interact with all day will be people that are paid to be with you. Most people pay for some services and get assistance from others just because they care. It's the responsibility of the DSPs to find and set up flexible ways of supporting a person in community settings so they can develop natural relationships. The goal is to move away from dependence on paid supports and move towards supports from friends, families, and others who are genuinely interested and care about the person. Our culture values work. They just do. We value work. You make more contributions to society when you are a working member of it. Our culture values work, so it is expected that adults will work to earn money to support themselves. This value is true for people with disabilities also. Additionally, we recognize that working in the community provides so much more than just a paycheck. Numerous studies have shown that people with disabilities who are working in the community report other non-monetary benefits to working, such as making friends, being social, learning new skills. Employment first is a concept that Virginia values. It means offering the option of integrated community employment as a first choice of day activity to people entering services. You don't have anything to do all day? Would you like something to do? Do you want to work? That's the first option, employment first. If the person has no reference for choosing work or has no work experience, they should have an opportunity to do work assessments to see what it's like. Those who are not currently working should have frequent opportunities to learn about work and types of jobs that people do and to be exposed to working people within their interest area. What are the other benefits of working? Self-efficacy, higher expectations of what they can accomplish, and that spreads to other areas of their lives. It helps people feel more connected because they're meeting people, talking to people, being involved. Working people report having better health and better sense of well-being, and they have more meaning in their lives. Working people also make money. Income from paying jobs helps supplement their resources and improves the quality of life. As a DSP, your role is to believe that everyone can work. Support that person in believing that they can work in the community. Talk about work. What do you want to do? What do you like doing? What are you good at? What could you do every day and be happy doing? Do you have a dream job? Do you want to be an astronaut? Talk to them. What are their dreams? And most importantly, believe in the individual and be supportive if things don't go right the first time. With a focus on community life, there's no longer a need for specialized programs that restrict or exclude people from an ordinary or extraordinary life. Using paid supports does not mean a person with a disability has to participate in specialized programs or groups of people with similar disabilities with little to no access to ordinary activities. Just because you have autism does not mean you have to go to day support with other folks with autism every single day if you don't want to. If you want to go do ordinary activities during your day, it is up to you to decide how you want to spend your day. Alternatives to isolating programs refers to supporting a person in natural settings with families and friends by providing flexible supports that work well for them in those situations. People with disabilities should live in comfortable homes in safe neighborhoods. They should have the choice to work in a regular job or to engage in other typical activities that they and the community value. Personal choice means making decisions about all the details of our lives. Every day, we make choices. Should I hit the snooze button or should I get up? Should I call in or should I go to work? Should I wear these jeans or should I wear a skirt? We also make huge, major decisions about who we live with, what sort of work we want to do, what big item we're going to buy. We're in control, and it feels good because we're empowered and able to make our own decisions. Everyone is entitled to make decisions about their lives. An important goal of all DSPs should be to provide people with opportunities to make both small, everyday choices in the here and now, as well as bigger, more important decisions for the future. This goal must drive the individual support plans that are developed, the way provider agencies operate, the staffing patterns, so what they do and when they do it, and especially the daily action of the DSPs. Choice should occur naturally and should be expected without unnecessary restrictions. Many people enter supportive services with little to no choice. It is the DSP's responsibility to promote personal choice by noticing likes, dislikes, and opinions as forms of choice. Informed consent refers to one's ability to make a decision based on a clear understanding of the facts, the results of the choice, and possible future consequences. So being informed and consenting. I know everything there is to know, and I say yes. Some people do not show the capacity for informed consent, cannot understand what is being explained, therefore cannot be truly informed. And they need supports from family members or authorized representatives or a legal guardian. This is typically reserved for decisions on choices that might have an effect on a person's health or safety. So if you ask the person, do you want to wear red or yellow today, you don't need to go above them to their guardian to ask them if they cannot make a decision. If it affects their health and safety, definitely go above. This does not mean that the day-to-day choices or expression of hopes and dreams should be restricted. DSPs are responsible for encouraging choice and consulting with alternate decision makers when unsure. Always listen to your people. Encourage choices. Consult with a team. All people, no matter their ability, retain basic human rights. Like you, people with disabilities are entitled to enjoy the rights and freedoms to privacy, to have personal possessions, to marry, to have free speech, to live in neighborhoods, to complain, to vote. It is also the right of the person to be free from abuse, neglect, and to not have their restrictions on their rights and freedoms. As a DSP, you are a mandated reporter and required to report violations of individuals' rights, including suspicions of abuse or neglect. Though policies vary, you are required to report to your director. Immediately report suspected abuse, neglect, or human rights violations according to the agency's policy. Talk with your supervisor and family and representatives as needed regarding decisions that directly affect the health and safety of a person. Work with your supervisor and the person's team to figure out acceptable risk with the person. Some people you support may have had their legal rights limited through the appointment of a guardian, conservator, or another legal process. That does not mean that they cannot make day-to-day choices and decisions or should have their dreams and plans go unheard. It's your responsibility to seek guidance and help with decision-making when appropriate or needed to preserve the health and safety of the person that you support. Confidentiality is a right each of us has to privacy and respect of information given to and shared among professionals about us. People generally expect that their medical records, financial records, psychological, criminal, driving records are going to be kept in a confidential manner. DSPs must remember to have the same respect for the private information for the individuals whom they support. No one would like to think that their doctor or counselor openly discusses their diagnosis or illness or care plan at a party or in the grocery store. While DSPs generally read and sign a confidentiality agreement related to employment, it's important to avoid sharing confidential information about the individuals being supported. What's your role? When you go to the doctor appointment or dentist appointment with your individual, encourage them to speak and answer questions for themselves. If the doctor asks you questions or looks at you instead of the individual, use some body language to encourage asking the individual directly the questions that they have. This is a teachable moment for both the person and the professional. When out in the community and seeing a friend, encourage the person to introduce themselves or say hi. When in a social situation in which your job is being discussed, don't give details. Never mention names, identifying facts, medical information. Don't disclose. It's confidential. That's it for the values that support life in the community. Don't forget to take the quiz attached to this in the classroom, and good luck.